thank you for taking the time to be here. And for those of you who have joined us previously, welcome back to the SAP offices. I'm delighted that we can have here with us today Mr. Bennett Aquino, Head of Strategy and Corporate Development for the consumer business at Globe Telecom. As Melissa has indicated, the purpose of today is to share with you the research that SAP has conducted in conjunction with our research partner AMR Research around the digital experience of consumers across Asia Pacific, Southeast Asia, and more specifically, the Philippines. To share the methodology that we used during the research process and the outcomes and the business outcomes that we have found as a result of that research. As you can see, the Philippines' digital economy is robust and growing at an exponential rate. If you consider the Philippines has the highest internet adoption in the world at over 500%, with the highest Twitter and the highest Facebook penetration rates at over 80 and 90% respectively. The Philippines' digital economy is growing exponentially. And it has one of the youngest, most digitally connected populations in the world. However, in all of our discussions with customers, in all of our research, one thing has become evident. The monetization of the digital economy and the monetization of the data derived from the digital economy remains the challenge. Let me give you one example. If you consider the digital consumers in the Philippines, 35% of that population own a smartphone today. Yet only 9% of that same population are willing to use that smart device to transact online, for example, for internet banking. The digital economy has increased competition, both foreign competition into the Philippines, domestic competition within the Philippines, but it has also created opportunities for Filipino companies. Opportunities that just a few short years ago didn't exist. In order to capture that opportunity, brands need to transform. And that transformation is predicated on having the customer at the center. Brands need to provide a customer service, a digital customer experience, the likes of which have never before been required. The reason for this is simple. Accenture calls it the switching economy. And their research has shown that more than 50% of consumers have switched brands in the last 12 months as a result of a poor customer experience. Consumers today have information about competitors at their fingertips in real time that has made switching from one brand to another extremely easy and resulting in customer loyalty being at an all-time low. It's clear that the motivation for digital transformation is the customer. But as companies embark on their digital transformation journey, they need to ask themselves and continue asking themselves one question. Is my digital transformation delivering for my customer? And that is the question that SAP's Digital Experience Report attempts to address. So let me walk you through some of the methodology that SAP has used. SAP, as I said previously, partnered with a research company called AMR Research based in Sydney and conducted this research throughout the Asia Pacific region. It's in fact the second year that we have conducted such research, the first time in the Philippines and Southeast Asia. What we did for the Philippines, as with all Asian countries, was we had over 500 respondents respond to a 15-minute online questionnaire. That questionnaire covered 5 main topics. Satisfaction with the digital experience in general, satisfaction with their digital experience by industry, satisfaction by specific brand, customer loyalty, and customer advocacy. And the requirement was that each of the respondents needed to have a digital experience with at least 2 to 3 of these industries in the past 12 months. As you can see, the research covered all of the top 5 industries in the Philippines, from banking to utilities, to telecommunications, to consumer and retail, and media and entertainment. of the respondents, we tried to get as much of a representative demographic as what we possibly could. And you can see there from the left-hand side. We split out the respondents by gender, by age group, by income, and even by geography and postcode. One of the most intensive and extensive bits of work that we did as pre-work to this research was a determination of what we called the digital attributes. These were attributes that our research company worked hand in hand with in-country customer focus groups, customers, partners, and industry advisors to determine which attributes are the most important to consumers in a digital experience. The result was these 14. I'm not going to go through each of them in detail now, but what I will say is you can see that there's an equal distribution between functional attributes and emotive attributes. As part of the research, which we then asked the consumers to do, is to rate each of the industries and each of the brands against these 14 digital attributes. First and foremost, we asked the consumers to rate which of these digital attributes are the most important to them in the digital experience. And what was overwhelmingly evident across the Philippines, which actually was represented in Southeast Asia and even APJ, was that the single most important attribute for a successful and delightful digital experience was that the digital experience and the brand providing it provided it in a safe and secure environment. Second was that it was available anytime and on the consumer's terms, available 24/7 on any device. And the third most important was that it was dedicated to my needs. It provided easy to understand access and linked well with the brand. We had, as I said, the consumers rate each of these 14 attributes against the brands using the NPS methodology, where 0 to 6 meant unsatisfied, 7 was ambivalent, and 8, 9, and 10 constituted a delightful experience. What this allowed us to do is then, by industry, brand, and overall for the country, is determine a DX score, a digital experience score. The way we determined that is by taking the unsatisfied respondents and subtracting them from those that were delighted. What we found for the Philippines is that there is a positive gap, a 33% DX score in the positive, which means that the vast majority of Filipino digital consumers are satisfied, if not delighted, with the experience that they're receiving today based on their expectations today. This is all very interesting, very nice to know. The question that we asked ourselves is, so what? What does this actually mean? What we found is that these DX scores have a direct impact on business and on the bottom line through three main things. One, they drive customer loyalty. Two, they drive customer advocacy. And three, they drive the ability to collect additional information. Let's go into each of those in a bit more detail. If we look at customer advocacy, we asked the respondents one simple question. Would you promote this brand to your friends, to your family, and to your colleagues? And what we saw overwhelmingly in the positive is that almost 3/4 of those respondents that were delighted by their experience would proactively advocate that brand as a trusted advisor. If we look at loyalty scores, and as I said from the Accenture switching economy, how important loyalty is, we asked consumers the same question. How likely would you be to continue engaging and buying from this brand in the future and remain loyal to that brand? And again, more than 8 times the number of respondents answered that question in the affirmative for brands that gave them a delightful experience. Lastly, but by no means the least, we asked consumers how likely they would be and how willing they would be to provide information, personal and private information, to those brands. Once again, brands that were able to delight consumers were overwhelmingly in favor of having those consumers provide them information. And if we look here at some of the statistics, almost 50% of the consumers that were delighted by their brands were willing to share their main financial institution's information with that brand. Again, same result for personal finances, almost 50%. 56% for health or medical records. And even web browsing history, 53%. If we take a slightly wider look at this and look at the ASEAN or Southeast Asia market in a little bit more detail, we can see that the Southeast Asia or ASEAN market reflects to a large degree very similar attributes to that of the Philippines. Again, it's an extremely robust market, a robust economy, and one that is growing exponentially. If we look at the research that was conducted across the 5 ASEAN markets, we again see very similar results. Again, a very positive DX score, slightly less than the 33% of the Philippines, but still a very respectable 27% in the positive. No surprises, again, customer loyalty and customer advocacy were hugely in favor for brands that provided a delightful experience. Same again with the ability to attract information out of those consumers. And what I found possibly most interesting is that out of the 14 attributes, 2 out of the 14 were consistent across Southeast Asia. First and foremost being safe and secure, secondly being available anytime. Thirdly, for Southeast Asia in general, was a cohesive, integrated and simple experience. But again, so what? What does it mean, and how do we tie customer loyalty, customer advocacy, and the ability to generate information to real business results? Well, we don't have to look much further than Bain & Company. What Bain & Company has said is that word of mouth is quickly becoming the most effective and most cost-effective method of marketing. If we look at customer loyalty, not only do loyal customers spend more throughout the lifetime of their engagement with the brand, but that repeat purchases tend to be of a higher transactional value, to the tune of 67%. And when we consider information sharing, well, for us, this creates a virtuous cycle. As brands delight their customers, they're able to gain more insight into the likes and dislikes of their consumers, which they can then replay and replug into their digital experience, improving the digital experience further. So how can SAP help? I believe that SAP is in a unique position to help companies understand the monetization of the digital economy and help brands provide an exponentially better customer engagement and customer experience. If we look at the digital economy, we consider that the lines between the traditional industries are blurring, with one industry leveraging best practices of another industry to create a competitive advantage. And we see this all the time. We see telcos in retail. We see telcos in banking. We even see utilities and services provision. If you consider SAP with over 40 years of deep industry expertise across 25 of the world's largest industries, we believe that we're in a unique position to leverage that industry expertise in creating and understanding the cross-pollination of best practices. All of this underpinned by a digital core, which is S/4HANA, which allows companies to bring the back office and the front office, which is the customer-facing, together to not only gain real-time insight on the internal data of companies, but to look into their market, to customers and suppliers, and gain market data in real time that they can use to predict into the future, effectively helping businesses run live. SAP is so dedicated to supporting brands through their digital transformation journey that we have come up with a digital business framework The digital business framework looks at the transformation, the digital transformation holistically, both internally within a company as well as externally within the market, across 4 main pillars. First and foremost, customers. As we've said, the digital transformation is focused and customer-centric. From everything from omni-channel to customer 360, allowing brand to get a full view of their customers to improve the customer experience. To suppliers, end-to-end supplier relationships and improving business networks. To IoT and big data and assets, allowing for a true omni-business market, where one asset can be utilized on multiple different businesses to create revenue across multiple streams. And lastly, but possibly most importantly, workforce. The key to any successful digital transformation is ensuring that brands have the right people at the right time with the right skills in the right place. Brands' employees will be key to ensuring the success of 1, the customer engagement, and 2, the digital transformation, and being ready to take advantage of the opportunities of digital transformation. Again, all of this underpinned by a digital core that allows full flexibility and real-time predictability. With that, it's my pleasure to wrap up and say, what's clear from this research is that 1, the Philippines and Southeast Asia have a positive DX score based on the results and customers' requirements as of today. This positive score matters. It affects businesses and has a real business impact. And we believe that SAP is key and in a unique position to support and help our customers and brands work through this digital transformation. Thank you again for being here. I'd like to now hand over to Bennett to discuss more with you about how Globe are delighting their digital customers.